Hey guys, it's Dr. Miller at Liberty Pet Hospital in Palo, Ohio. Today I'm going to go over some of the top nutrition questions I get asked in the exam room every day. First, we're going to start with grain-free diets. Unfortunately, pet owners are most often educated by media in a variety of places outside the vet hospital. And many clients are choosing grain-free diets because they think it will help their pet's skin, whether it be ear infections, skin infections, anal gland problems, just general itchiness. And many times that's not the case. As a veterinarian, I don't care about the grains primarily. I'm worried about what's the protein or vegetable and what protein or vegetables your pet's have eaten in the past to try and help eliminate that with a prescription diet. Most times we don't see success with allergies in a grain-free diet. But if you watch my nutrition video, you'll probably get more information there. The biggest concern right now for me is we're seeing a lot of large breeds that don't normally get heart disease, meaning heart muscle function problems, now have them as a result of eating grain-free diets for an extended period of time. So if you have a large breed dog, or really any pet eating grain-free, I would recommend a slow transition from your current grain-free diet to something else, maybe a feeding trial food, which I'll talk about here shortly, in a slow way so they don't get any GI upset with the transition, and to make sure that the heart is safe. There are nutritionists and cardiologists at UC Davis Vet School doing some research to see if it is simply a taurine deficiency that changing to a diet with more meat protein rather than bean or pea protein will fix it, or if it's more complicated than that, because there is some suspicion that it's not as simple as a taurine deficiency. The next topic is byproduct versus filler. Clients come in every day saying, I feed a food that doesn't have byproduct, I think that's most nutritious, and I want to educate you, because I still see television commercials today that say this food does not have byproduct. Byproduct is okay, filler is not. Filler means calories with no nutritional value. Byproduct means non-muscle meat. Most of us enjoy eating chicken breast, chicken thighs, chicken wings, and maybe less of us will eat organ meat, liver, kidney, etc. But many animals would eat organ meat, and it's very nutritionally dense and healthy for the animal. I tell clients every day, if you watch National Geographic, is a lion in Africa chewing on the leg of the animal that they hunted, or are they chewing on organs and things in the abdomen? And many times it's the abdomen. They're going there first because the kidney and liver are so nutritionally dense. So I don't want you to be afraid of feeding byproduct. I think I would avoid filler, but I wouldn't avoid byproduct, and unfortunately I'm still seeing those commercials on television today. The other topic is an all life stage food. I have pet owners with kittens and adult cats, puppies and adult dogs, or an adult dog and a senior dog, and they want an all life stage food. That way they have one bag of food to feed everybody. The problem with all life stage foods is that it is nutritionally balanced for the most demanding life stage. Do you know what that life stage is? It's pregnancy. So if you have a puppy and an adult dog, or adult and geriatric dog, you are feeding an all life stage food that is meeting demands for pregnancy, and most pet owners aren't feeding pregnant dogs or pregnant cats those food. At least many of us have spayed and neutered animals. So my preference would be to try and get through that first year with your puppy or kitten with a growing, puppy or kitten diet, and then as an adult transition to the adult food, or if you have a puppy and an adult dog, or a kitten and an adult cat, have those two different foods at least for the first year and then transition. Senior foods often are lower in calorie because they're not moving as much. They don't need as many calories. We want to make sure they're lean and not overweight. Sometimes there's glucosamine and chondroitin to supplement the diet. This is over-the-counter foods, but it is not usually enough glucosamine and chondroitin to be therapeutic. So if your pet does have joint concerns, call us. We probably will get them on either a veterinary glucosamine and chondroitin supplement, or even a prescription food that has therapeutic levels of glucosamine and chondroitin. That way you don't have to add it to the food. So I wanted to talk about that. Feeding trial foods. Okay, so I cut a label off of a food that had a feeding trial done, and what feeding trial means is that the animals were fed that food and then checked for to make sure that they're growing properly, their blood and urine, everything was on par with where you'd want it to be for growth. And what's scary to me is many foods in the US are ingredients in the bag and have never been tested to know if they're safe, and I feel as though that's why many of these grain-free diets have potentially caused harm, is that they were ingredients in the bag to meet the consumer's emotional needs on how they wanted to, what they wanted to read on the label, what they felt was nutritious, what they thought was wholesome. But the food was never fed to an animal and checked, so as a result some of these dogs are having heart disease that we wouldn't normally see it in. So if you look at this little statement. It says, AAFCO statement, animal feeding tests using AAFCO procedures substantiate that this prescription diet provides complete and balanced nutrition for maintenance of adult dogs. So this is what you want to see. Adult feeding tests used. I'm going to see if I can get that in focus. Adult feeding tests used. Okay. Hope that's focus. All right. Yeah, so there have been a lot of recalls. In December of 2018, there was a very large recall of dogs getting 350 times their level of vitamin D as a result of a co-packed food. Co-packed means that the ingredients are sent to a manufacturing plant, and often many pet foods are made under one manufacturing plant, and that's where errors can happen, versus feeding child foods are usually big pet food companies. Hill Science Diet, Royal Canin, Purina Pro Plan, Iams Eukanuba, they manufacture their own foods, and so there's less risk of contamination, cross-contamination, some type of manufacturing problem, and there's a little better quality assurance that if there is a recall, they can often target the food better than if it's mass-produced at different co-packing plants along the country, because then they don't really know where the food went to. So personally, I would feed a feeding child food to your dogs and cats. That's what I've always fed to my animals, because we know it's safe. We know things have been measured. I've had dogs and cats come in with different bladder problems, GI problems, and sometimes it's as simple as feeding them a feeding child food and their urine pH and things return to normal. Sometimes their GI tract, if they're having GI signs or vomiting, it returns to normal. And I'm not making that promise, but sometimes it's as simple as feeding something that's been tested to be balanced and sound for the animal, and it helps them. Okay, I have some owners that say they want to feed a home-cooked diet. They don't feel comfortable about whatever's on the pet label for the pet food, and my recommendation would be to schedule a nutrition appointment with a nutritionist at Ohio State's vet school, where they can discuss your interests, your needs, what the pet's health history is, and then formulate a plan for something to be home cooked. And then you're going to have to add a vitamin and mineral powder to make sure the pet is not nutritionally deficient. We can help with that too, but if you really want to feed it lifelong, it's best to schedule an appointment with a nutritionist at Ohio State. That way you can feed the diet you want with the ingredients you want, but make sure it's balanced with the vitamin and mineral powder added. A lot of people also ask me about feeding raw diets and do I recommend it because it's natural for the animal. My personal recommendation is no, because dogs and cats can get E. coli and salmonella, which can be present in raw, uncooked meats, and humans can also get it too. So I'm sure you see throughout the year different recalls on different meats or different food handling restaurants where something's been recalled or there's been an outbreak. And so I don't recommend raw diets because dogs and people, or cats and people, can get it, and I want to make sure everybody stays safe. Also think about it, if your dog is chewing on raw chicken or raw whatever it may be and then licks the floor, licks your hand, or licks their feet, you touch their feet or you let them lick your hand as you're petting them, you're scratching your chin and their saliva gets on you, it's possible that you could get exposed with E. coli or salmonella, because that's bacteria, just by being around their mouth or places that they've licked or touched. Or if they lick the floor and you walk across barefoot and have a cut in your foot or something, you could get exposed too. So my preference is no raw diets, because people can get sick, not just the animal too. All right, so I think that covers the short of it. I hope you found this topic interesting. If you have questions, please let me know. Feel free to schedule an appointment, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Okay.